basketball has really consumed my life for a year. So I feel like it'll be good for me to kind of reflect back on everything that's happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even have time to really reflect on my college career because it ended so fast. I feel like taking some time to myself and really enjoying that and reflecting.
There's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place.
Caitlin Clark has announced that she will be taking a sabbatical from basketball until April. Meanwhile, Alyssa Thomas has spoken out about the insult she received from Caitlin Clark supporters. Ryan Rua: Caitlin won't play off-season basketball for more than 200 days.
Allow me to publicly thank the Indiana Fever for putting up such a great fight tonight and for battling back again and again and again all season long. Let me thank Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell and all the rest for refusing to say die, refusing to lose, fighting back again and again and again, and playing at a much higher level than they should be at this stage and age. Was I ever entered?
In her most recent game, Caitlin Clark was also tackled to the ground. This was not surprising, and so, no foul was called. Could someone please explain to me why it wasn't a foul? Oh, wait, I already know it was on Caitlin Clark.
Things that this group accomplished that, a lot of people probably didn't think was possible, one, to start the season, and two, after the start we had to the season. So, yeah, it'll definitely be probably a little weird for me over the course of the first couple weeks, and then I'm sure I'll get bored and pick up a basketball again. So,
even though she contributed to her team's victory, Alyssa Thomas was not pleased with the way fans treated her during the game, particularly calling out Fever fans. She had nothing to say when Angel Reese tackled her earlier, but when it comes to Caitlin, it's a different story.
We don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world and what we have to deal with in that aspect. And, we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's, them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it.
Is Caitlin Clark's decision to take a break following her breakthrough WNBA season a turning point in her career? What does this mean for the future of women's basketball? Fans and analysts alike are left wondering how her absence will affect not only the Indiana Fever, but the WNBA as a whole. Caitlin's decision to prioritize rest over playing overseas or 3v3 basketball signals a shift in her approach to her career. But what does this mean for the WNBA's future viewership and the impact on women's given her intense schedule this season? Caitlin Clark's decision to give herself a well-earned break was unexpected by some, but it makes perfect sense given that she practically played an NBA season. Over the course of 324 days, Caitlin Clark participated in 81 games and spent 2,850 minutes on the court.
Now has 761 points, breaking the record once held by Simone Augustus. However, there is a caveat. Augustus set the mark back in 2006 when the WNBA regular season was just 34 games. Clark broke the record in 39.
Let's start by discussing Caitlin's most recent game. It wasn't just any regular season game. It was a playoff game, a moment when everything was on the line and the pressure was at its highest, facing off against a formidable Connecticut Sun team. The odds were stacked against the Fever, but Caitlin showed up in typical fashion, delivering a performance that demonstrated why she has become such a talked-about player. Caitlin put up an impressive 25 points and dished out 9 assists, but for those who watched closely, it was evident that Caitlin's playmaking ability was on full display. She was creating opportunities, placing her teammates in the right spots, and making the game easier for everyone around her, but the shots just weren't falling. She repeatedly set up her teammates with flawless passes only to watch as they missed easy layups.
I would grade myself. I'm a tough grader. I feel like I had a solid year, but for me, the fun part is I feel like I'm just scratching the surface, and I'm one that's nitpicking every single thing I do. And I know I want to, help this franchise get even better, help my teammates get even better, be better for my teammates. And I know there's a lot of room for me to continue to improve. So that's what excites me the most. I feel like I can continue to get a lot better. And before we know it, I'm sure we'll all be back here.
The Connecticut Sun squad, a well-rounded team with playoff experience, was up against a team that had struggled throughout parts of the season. Caitlin wasn't one to back down from a challenge, though. From the first tip, she attacked the basket, took her shots with confidence, and made sure that she gave her team the best chance to win.
Got a lot of players, a lot of these wonderful ladies who bust their tail to make the WNBA what it was. Here's the reality. It wasn't what it is. The quality of basketball may have been up to snuff, and you had somebody as popular as Cheryl Swoops who had her own signature shoe, had to deal with Nike and all of this other stuff. But the bottom line is, very few people gave a.
Even though Caitlin's most recent game ended in disappointment, her season as a whole was nothing short of incredible. This was the year when Caitlin Clark cemented her status as one of the most thrilling and gifted players in the WNBA thanks to her ability to score goals and create for others. The Indiana Fever relied heavily on Caitlin, and it's critical to recognize how remarkable her season was, particularly noteworthy given the intense competition in the WNBA. Every team in the league knew that Caitlin was the player to stop, so defenses were built to slow her down, and opposing coaches made constant adjustments to limit her impact. Despite this, Caitlin consistently managed to perform at an elite level every night.
It was a lot of fun watching Caitlin Clark's rookie season, which is now over. The Indiana Fever knocked out of the postseason by the Connecticut Sun in a 2-game sweep. And so we got to see the carryover from Iowa transition to the pro game, her ability to help develop a team's cohesion and chemistry, and we saw that work so well as the season went on. Clearly brought, like a magnet, phenomenal attention to the league, bringing new fans, a committed fan base, not just in her home arena, but bringing fans to away arenas and packing the houses and increasing different venues from smaller to larger because of their presence. It's been
one of Caitlin's most noteworthy skills is perhaps her ability to score from long range. She has an amazing ability to make three-pointers from well beyond the arc with incredible efficiency, which demands Caitlin is not just a scorer. She is also one of the league's best playmakers, frequently dishing out assists and involving her teammates in the offense. In fact, her playmaking is one of the reasons she stands out from other top scorers, while many players just concentrate on posting points on the board. Caitlin possesses a distinct. Caitlin's ability to see the floor and make the right pass at the right moment was demonstrated by her 9 assists in her final game. As previously mentioned, she could have had even more if her teammates had converted more of their opportunities. However, what really made Caitlin stand out this season was her leadership as a young player. She took on a significant role for the Fever and became the player that her teammates looked to in critical moments, whether it was making a crucial defensive play or hitting a big shot in the closing minutes. Caitlin's leadership and on-court skill made her one of the most significant players in the WNBA this season. She was always there for her team when they needed her most.
It's really just the fans, her fans, the Iowa fans, now the Indiana fans that are like, they ride for her. And I respect that respectfully, but sometimes it's very disrespectful. I think there's a lot of racism when it comes to it, and I don't believe she stands on any.
It's not surprising that Caitlin has chosen to take a break after such a demanding and intense season. Many WNBA players choose to play overseas during the offseason in order to stay in shape and earn extra money, but for her, it was obvious that she needed a break. It's important to remember that the WNBA season can be extremely taxing, especially for players who take on as much responsibility as Caitlin does. Playing overseas might be tempting, but it also means continuing with the same. Caitlin's demanding schedule and lack of recovery time caused her to understand that rest was the best course of action due to the season's physical and psychological toll.
Will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay.
Caitlin chose not to play 3v3 basketball, a popular variation of the game that requires players to be quick both offensively and defensively. Although it would have been an enjoyable method to stay in shape, Caitlin also chose not to play overseas. Caitlin was aware that her body required a full rest period in order to fully recuperate and return stronger the following season, rather than merely a vacation from full-court basketball. Caitlin made a wise decision to take a break, especially considering how young she is. Many athletes have pressure to continue playing, whether it's to maintain their position or to stay in peak physical condition in the league, but Caitlin knows that taking care of her body now will pay off later. By resting, she's allowing herself to recover both emotionally and physically, and making sure she's prepared to play at her best when the upcoming WNBA season starts.
Fourth in betting odds on being MVP of the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid that it gives women's basketball a bad.
Caitlin Clark frequently found herself on the wrong end of no calls throughout the season, whether she was driving to the basket and absorbing contact or getting bumped on the perimeter. This was especially annoying because, as one of the best players in the league, Caitlin expected to be treated with the same respect as her peers.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard, and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of basketball. So I don't know, it reminded me of the technical that I got in college where I said, damn it, where it's like a personal frustration. Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor and I felt like I should have been making more shots. So, but I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that. So I want to thank him for that.
In her final game against the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin repeatedly drove to the basket but was met with hard fouls and no whistles from the referees. This was a pattern that had followed her throughout the season, and it has not gone unnoticed by fans, coaches, and analysts alike. The lack of calls is particularly puzzling given Caitlin's status as one of the league's rising stars. In the NBA and WNBA, star players like LeBron James or A.A. Wilson are used to receiving favorable calls, especially when they attack the basket aggressively. But for Caitlin, in addition to the difficulties, this disparity in officiating has created concerns about consistency in the WNBA. Whistles appear to remain silent even in circumstances where the collision was evident. During her final game, a spectator in the stands started heckling Caitlin, throwing shade at her and trying to get under her skin for the majority of the game. In addition to the challenges she encountered on the court, Caitlin also had to cope with a challenging scenario off the court. Caitlin ignored the supporters' remarks and concentrated on the game, but as the taunts persisted, she finally lost it. In a moment reminiscent to NBA player LeBron James, Caitlin noted out Caitlin Clark, who is renowned for her poise and composure under pressure, had a rare moment of visible frustration. However, this incident demonstrated that even the best players have their limits. Now that Caitlin is out of the playoffs, the WNBA postseason landscape has changed. One player who may be relieved is Angel Reese, a fellow star and competitor who has been closely linked to Caitlin throughout the season. The two players have a competitive rivalry, and with Caitlin now on the sidelines, Angel is aware that one of the main challenges to her championship run has been eliminated. Although Angel has never publicly expressed happiness over Caitlin's elimination from the playoffs, it is obvious that her absence alters the dynamics of the postseason. Without Caitlin, the Indiana Fever are no longer a threat, and Angel's path to a possible championship becomes somewhat clearer. The focus now shifts to other players, with A.I.A. Wilson emerging as the final big star in the playoffs. Caitlin Clark's elimination from the playoffs affects not just the Indiana Fever or the playoff race, but the WNBA as a whole.
We're watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize.
It's no secret that the WNBA has been working hard to grow its fan base in recent years. The league has made significant strides in marketing, broadcasting, and accessibility, but players like Caitlin are essential to keeping that momentum going. Without her on the court, the WNBA loses one of its most marketable and exciting players, which could result in a noticeable dip in viewership and attendance. Fans tuned in specifically to watch Caitlin play, and her highlight reel performances became must-see TV.
Like, if they think it's personal, but when I get between the lines, if friends or anything, if my teammate right here went to play for another team, I'm going to be competitive. I'm going to talk trash to her just because I'm super competitive, and that's what we do. But off the court, we're going to kick in and have fun. So I think that's a part of the game, and just trying to normalize, like, trash talking is okay, but not taking it personal off the court. And obviously that has become a thing, and people are just trying to make it seem like it's something. But I love Caitlin, I love her game, and I admire everything that she's done.
Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA extends beyond her on-court accomplishments. She has become a cultural figure who has attracted new fans to the league and brought a level of excitement that hasn't been seen in years. Now that she's out of the playoffs, there's a sense of loss not just for the Fever, but for the league as a whole. Her absence will be felt, and it's obvious that the WNBA will miss her presence. But if there's one thing we know about Caitlin Clark is that she has the talent, drive, and work ethic to be among the greatest players in the world. And this break will only give her more time to refuel and concentrate when she returns next season. Her play will electrify the WNBA once more, and fans will be excitedly anticipating her return. If you liked this, please leave a like. Add more videos to the screen by subscribing.